recording started. So we are so happy everyone's here tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about core words. And yeah, introduce core words. Next slide. Did the slide change? Just want to make sure.
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool. So we did introductions. Again, I'm Margaret. I'm a speech therapist, and I've been a speech therapist for into like 30 years. And I work in a high school, but I also do assistive technology. So I get to go to like preschool, elementary, and middle school as well. So I've been working with AAC for many years. And then Carolee is.
I am also a speech language pathologist. I've crossed over into the plus 10 years, so I feel a little more seasoned these days. I've been in several school districts and also private practice, and right now I'm a clinician at Snohomish Speech and Language with doing some consultation for AAC and implementation for school teams right now, which is really great. I'm really passionate about helping train caregivers and communication partners to know how to work with students and clients to make them more comfortable with systems.
Yeah, thank you. And I know we did a little introductions. So sounds like there's teachers here, SLPA here. I don't know if anyone else wants to say who they are. You don't have to, but if you want. Okay. So just a little bit about NWACS. NWACS stands for the Northwest Augmentative Communication Society. And this organization has been around for many years, since the late 70s, and proud to say that NWACS is one of the longest running organizations in this area that supports people with complex communication needs. We have an annual conference, which was actually last Saturday, and it was wonderful. We heard from Karen Kingus, and she gave, she's just a wealth of knowledge, a lot of information about working with students and AAC and positioning and with complex bodies and things like that. So we have planned out the next couple of months what we're going to do, but if you have anything you want us to present on, just let us know, or anything else that's related to AAC, just let us know. We have a pretty comprehensive website. You can go there and look at things and email people. So this evening, we're going to talk about what core words are, why they're important to teaching AAC, and then we'll talk a little bit about the difference between core words and fringe vocabulary. And also keep in mind that I cannot see you, so if you raise your hand or something, I guess, Carolee, you can let me know.
Yeah, no, I'll monitor that. And I just put a quick note in the chat saying, if somebody wants to, you can either direct message me on the chat or put a question in there and we can read it off too if you don't want to ask a question directly. So we'll have time at the end, but if something comes up, don't hesitate to say, hang on a second, and then we'll address those. So I'll keep an eye on that, Margaret.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, because I also cannot see the chat.
That's okay.
So core words. So core words are the approximately 80% of words that we say most often. They're pronouns, prepositions, verbs, and things like that. What makes core words special is because they can be used across contexts, and they allow people to make sentences. So what I mean by across context is that core words so for example, the word go, it's a core word. I can use go while I'm playing with toys. I can use go when I'm leaving a place. I can use go if I want to make a toy car go if I'm playing. I can use go if a student's going down a slide. So they're not tied to an activity or a context. They're very flexible in that way, and that is why they're a very important part of AAC. And to prove it, if you have your phone nearby, if you look on a couple of text messages, if you want to share in the chat some of the core words that you might see, in your text messages, and I hope what you're going to see is that most of your words that you use are core. So Carrie, just let me know when to move on.
Yeah, I was gonna actually just open up one of my text messages and see, there was another message that came directly to me, but a couple of the words I said in mine was you, I, her, and, not, have, get, and also this. So that was in one of mine, and I left out words like emailed, Wes, heard, hopefully, and better. So, those were the specifics that put them in context, but does anybody else want to share? We can give a minute, or we can move on to the next one. I have a whole string of text messages I could read, so.
Kind of like you, had to, was, for, a, as, in, those kind of things.
Yeah. So the words we use commonly and, with a variety of communication partners and text and conversation, emails.
Yeah. So core words are essential. So, the text that you looked at or just read, just try and imagine trying to send that text messages without using core words. Okay. Probably not possible. So this is a core word board. You may have seen these before. This particular one is from Touch Chat, and but they're all different kinds. In my district, we made our own core board that we use across the entire district. Everyone uses the same core board. But again, you can see what kind of words are listed there. But sometimes when people see a core board, their first thought is, oh, that's just so many words. How is student going to learn these? How do I know where they are? It's just so overwhelming. But if you look at it for a second, there is an organization to this board in particular. So have a look at it for a few seconds, and then share in chat or talk out how are these words organized? What do you notice?
I'll go. I notice pronouns on the left, actions in the middle. I don't really know what you would call on the right, kind of like prepositions, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great observations. Can what I notice, and this might help draw your attention. So I notice at the bottom, no or don't is in red, which can sometimes mean, a dislike, or I know stop isn't in red, but like a stop sign is red and that says stop or no. So the red kind of signals negation.
Yeah. You might notice that the color coding looks like the question words are up top in purple. Verbs are green. The verbs are somewhat in alphabetical order, kind of loosely. Core board I use is the verbs are in alphabetical order to help you find them. And yes, the pronouns are in yellow. So, I mean, the first time you look at a core word board, it might look a bit overwhelming, and but once you start using it, especially if you use it on a daily basis with students, you eventually will learn where everything is located. Especially some of the high use words like I, and I use put a lot, and read, of course, because we're at school, and turn, I can turn the page. So, whenever you see a core word board, don't feel like overwhelmed or like it's too much, because you can learn this, and you have to learn it because you have to help your students learn it. So
I have a question, Margaret, real quick, and it's a great question. One question is there any research that shows that having the board organized left to right promotes early literacy learning?
Oh yeah, that is a great question. I know it's ordered that way for for composing sentences. So usually when you compose a sentence, left or right, pronoun, verb, and then it goes up into the window. That could be a way to support literacy, although I don't know of any research. So I don't know. Carolee, do you know of any off the top of your head?
No, I think it is a great question. I don't know of any to cite off the top of my head. I do know a little bit more about some other systems in their organization and research that's gone into it, but I think it certainly helps. And certainly for as you're combining sentences, instead of looking all over, there is, especially with this core board through Saltillo, that there is some left to right and how the message is composed, because you have your subject, your verbs, and then, like I go up or I put in. So I think it does help with the flow, but that's a great question. I can look for that and we can do a post and see if there is some research if you're interested in knowing the research that supports that.
Right, and one of the last few slides, there's some resources. One is Project Core. We're going to actually look at it a little bit today, but that would be the first place I would look to see if there's research around that. So that is a great question. Okay, am I okay to go to the next slide?
Yeah, we've got one more question. Well, a question and comment. You can go, hold on, sorry, 1 second, let me read it. Okay, this is a good question. So there's a new AAC user, sorry guys, and for those of you, if you are new, AAC is augmentative and alternative communications. So a new AAC user wondering how important it is to have core words when she's not putting 2 to 3 word sentences together.
It's pretty important.
Yeah. And we have one more, so you want to answer that and then we just have a comment, but
okay.
So I can talk first if you, so I was just gonna say, it's great when, as I work with children, it's, these core words really are important. Another way to reference them sometimes is like functional words. And we'll talk a little bit more in some slides to come, but some of these words are just words that you can use with everything. So like how many different ways can you use for, use go, or how many different contexts or situations can you use the word help? And so I think that we can talk more about modeling, and I think actually next month is how to implement core. So if you're interested in coming back, we might be able to go a little bit more in depth for that. But these words are important because like we mentioned in the beginning, it's 80% of the words that we use. So yes, it's great. You want more milk, but you could also want more ball, or you could also want more up, but to say if you're not yet combining words, some of these words can at least give context for the intention of behind the message of whether, you want to go somewhere or you need help. So I find that a lot of times with little ones that I'm working with, some of the first words that I focus on using in so many different contexts are, open, help, more, like is even a comment, go. I use fun. It's not on this one, but I use that with a lot of my kids. So I don't know, Margaret, if you want to add on to that, but I feel like they're just great words to start with when you're trying to get a little one to use words.
Yeah, I agree. They're pretty important. And because another reason is because when you teach AAC in general, core words in particular, you have to have a lot of repetition and of modeling the word to the student. So you have to have a lot of repetition in different activities. And core words pretty much allow you to do that. It's a little bit harder to do that with fringe words, which we're going to talk about a little bit, because fringe words are usually very specific to an activity. So, yeah.
And then we have one more question, which is kind of, or comment question. And LAMP is organized differently. And yes, it is. I think that could be a whole nother topic, but I just want to acknowledge that we see that. And I think going back to the beginning, like Margaret said, is this is just one example of a core board. There are lots of different core boards out there. Many companies have their own, but like Margaret said, like her district uses their core board across the district. So we can certainly talk more about differences and similarities in core words or core boards at the end. But LAMP is a different a completely different system.
Yeah. It's different for lots of reasons. So.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic one day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good system too, and it does use core, but it's just set up totally different. But yeah, I agree. Okay. Should I go on?
Yes.
Or?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, so now here we go. I'm gonna attempt to start a video. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, you cannot see a video, correct?
So let's say you have to read.
I think you guys stop sharing your screen and then open it, I think is how we did it before.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Now let me share again. This video is only, I think it's just a couple minutes. Oh no. See it. All right, let me try one more time. If this doesn't work, then we'll just
Get back for a minute.
Oops. Sorry about this. Okay. Now I'm back. Let me try it one more time. Okay. Window. Okay, I think I got it.
I think you're good. It looks like an ad.
Long email from your boss that you have to finish before the big meeting.
This is a callboard. Callboards are a form of AAC, or augmentative and alternative communication. It can be used by itself or with other AAC tools. A callboard is a grid of pictures and words. All of the words are part of our daily core vocabulary and make up about 50% of the words we use. A callboard helps a person to understand or to be understood. Callboards can have fringe vocab, which includes more vocabulary and personalised nouns that are important to the user. The words on a callboard are colour coordinated. In each colour section, the words are in alphabetical order so they are easier to find. Evidence has found that callboards support the development of a child's spoken language rather than replace it. Children learn how to use a callboard with lots of modelling from their parents, caregivers, teachers and peers. When a child learns to talk, they need to hear lots of language before they can say their first word. Callboards are the same. Children need to see an adult using the board lots before they'll start to use it themselves. When beginning with a callboard, start by practicing having it with the child at all times. It is the child's voice and therefore needs to be with the child, not on top of the cupboard. Callboards come in lots of different sizes so they can be accessed and used in lots of different locations. A new callboard can seem overwhelming with lots of pictures and words, but start small by only modelling a few words at set times of the day. Once those words become natural, expand and focus on 3 to 5 more words. It can be helpful to circle target words with a whiteboard marker so they can be easier to find. Callboards can be a fantastic tool to support a person's communication. Be patient, have fun, and remember, a person will start to use a callboard when they are ready. You can watch this video to learn.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any comments about that while I attempt to go back to the PowerPoint? Let's see.
I think it's a nice little video that points out just the general use. Something that I really like is have fun. It's what I always say. If you're not having fun, they're not having fun. So, having fun. And I also really liked the circling the word, or I've even outlined before. Anybody else want to share something that maybe popped out or is a good aha or nice reminder? You don't have to.
It likes the reminder that it doesn't inhibit spoken language.
Yes.
Yes.
It can also help with understanding too, which is a whole, we can get into that a different day, but there's a lot of benefits to using the pictures. Something that I really like as a clinician and as a person, I talk fast, and I find that when I'm using or modeling with a Callboard or a system, I slow down. So for me, it's been a really nice tool, personally and professionally. But
Well, and I like to hear that it goes with the kids, you know, everywhere, instead of,
yes.
wait a minute, we're going to the cafeteria, let's leave it here. And then, you know, that's always a big problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, I like to what she said about like starting, you know, with just a small goal or one word or 2 words and add, you know, sometimes just when you're starting either with a Callboard or a communication book or a new system, you know, sometimes that first week is literally see me, see my system, you know, see the child, where's your Callboard? And that's the first step, because it is a lot to juggle and manage, but I think just kind of simplifying sometimes and giving yourself permission to take it in small steps is going to make you feel a lot more successful rather than I have to do everything all at once.
So I'm going to get moving here so that we can finish. So just again, verbs, adjectives, and pronouns are some words that are considered core. And
yeah, I think so. I know I was kind of jumping in on the other part, but so, you know, the difference, we mentioned fringe words before. So core words are just those generally used that we can use in a lot of different situations. Fringe vocabulary is often lower frequency words that are specific to a person or an activity. Most commonly, these are nouns. I made a list of them at the bottom here just for something, just one context, but if you were maybe talking about baseball and limited to fringe words, you might have bat, home, run, base, or pitcher. I realize run is a verb, but you can see how that's specific to that topic. But there's not a lot to say, right? You're just labeling things, where if we added in core words, you could say my bat, go home, run in. I'm not a baseball player. My husband would be embarrassed. Big or not big, I guess, is that a core word? My pitch, your pitch, no pitch, fun pitch, you know, things like that. So there's so much more that you can say to add on to those fringe vocabulary words. Any questions? I know we're pleased to have a big group today. We said originally just a half hour, but I think we have a few more slides to present, but I don't want to miss any questions. So no other questions yet. Do you want to go to the next one? Okay, so
I think this is a video.
Do you want? Yeah, it is a video. Do you want to do another video? We can take a poll, like by nodding heads or shaking, if you want to watch one more video, or if you rather we just have like 2 or 3 more slides. So video, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. We got 2 thumbs up. So we have one more video, and I'll just talk through as you get to share your screen again. So, you know, video is so powerful in so many ways. And so it's kind of nice to kind of see it simplified. Like Margaret and I can talk about a lot of things and take your ear off. And there's usually something that you can take away, like an aha, or you can see it kind of put into action. So that's why we're sharing videos, and thank you for your patience as we navigate and share the screen. I haven't quite figured out the best way to have them pop up. Any questions so far as we're pulling this up, or is it all making sense? Pretty good. This is just another nice little short video.
Another big problem I see in my practice is that children aren't speaking in sentences. Kids get really good at using nouns because that's what they're taught first. Words like ball and cookie and iPad. These are all highly motivating things that children want to ask for. It's easy. A child wants a cookie, so we hold up a cookie and then have them ask for it by saying the word or using their device. We call nouns like this fringe words because they tend to be very specific. But focusing only on fringe words doesn't work when you're trying to create sentences. And this is one of the reasons why children get stuck using single words or the I want phrase. So what's the solution? Using core words. Now, those who know me know I love core words, and I have a lot of information on my website about using core words and how effective they can be. So what are core words? They're the most commonly used words that make up 75 to 80% of what we say in our everyday speech. Words like go, more, on, all, me. These are all core words. And you can see they aren't just nouns. They can be adjectives, verbs, prepositions, pronouns. Now, let me give you an example of the difference between core words and fringe words. Say we're taking Christopher to the zoo. If we were focusing on fringe words, we might get Christopher to say words like elephant, or ice cream, or balloon to help him talk about his experience. On the other hand, if we're focusing on core words, then we might use words like see instead of elephant, and eat instead of ice cream, and play instead of balloon. You can see how core words are good because they can be used in a variety of situations. Now let's take the word elephant. How often do you use the word elephant in casual conversation? I'm guessing not a lot, unless you work at the zoo or have a weird obsession with elephants. Now, how many times in a given day do you use the word see? Most certainly a lot more than the word elephant. We spend so much precious time teaching kids how to start naming all the things around them. And don't get me wrong, this is a really useful exercise for kids who are easily learning language. But if you're watching this video, your child is most likely struggling to learn language. So we have to be very strategic about what words we're choosing to teach. Teaching a word like go makes a whole lot more sense than teaching a word like playground, because we're able to use go all day long in a variety of situations.
Great, thank you. I think it's just a nice video that brings together all the things that we've mentioned. If you guys are willing to hang with us just a little bit more, I think the next slide, if I remember correctly, is a bit of an interactive one. So hopefully we'll have maybe one participant, but if not, Margaret and I will carry the activity. So kind of going off of that, we're back at the core board. And again, this is just one core board. There's lots of different core boards out there. So what I was hoping we could just practice with, or Margaret and I can just model, is what can you say using some of these words? So, you know, what I really liked from that previous video was her example of like, right, you know, the noun gives you the topic, but then what words can you say about that topic? And so if we want to start with the word go, does anybody want to volunteer? Maybe I'll give you about 10 or 15 seconds. I'll be quiet. It's going to feel like a long time to think of a couple phrases that you might be able to say just using the words that are on the board here. Or if that's too overwhelming, you could think of a context you could use the word in. Yeah, you ready?
How about go to work?
Great. Oh, we have a type in too. So yes, I don't know if you guys, I don't know, Margaret, can you see so yeah, we have go to work. We have go watch is one. We have go shopping. So yes, you can use those words if you're going to go somewhere. Go get is another example. Anybody else have another phrase? I'm going to just model one that's like I go or you go. So that the word go doesn't have to always be first. Any others for go? Ooh, a good one. We have go eat. That's a great one. Go up if your kid likes swinging or like being picked up. What about the word like? Anybody want to jump in or give a suggestion for words or phrases that you could use with like? Go read is another one for go. So they're all great. Ooh, good one. We have like to learn.
Yep, that's a good one.
One I always do is simply I like, or I like it. I think is it on this one. Yes, in the little green with the little box. Yes, I like it. Ooh, we're on the same page. And then just So I like you. That's a great one. I like you. So you can see how we're laughing that we said the same thing at the same time. So it was like, so, you know, you can see how, yes, those going back, kind of those fringe words are important, but look how interactive we were with just our core words. Oh, sharing a story. Once my daughter once said, like our learn, that's important. You know, she got the message across. So thank you for sharing. Oh, like to learn. I see that too. Yes. I just wanted to say that, you know, thinking about learning or thinking about books or going somewhere, you know, instead of saying like outside or park or school, like you could always add that on, but there's so much more you can say with the word go. Do we want to do on, or do we want to move on to the next slide?
Next slide.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So the next one, oops, sorry. So Project Core. So this is just a website, and I believe, Margaret, we share this PowerPoint, or we'll have the link to this too. Do we share this on the on our website? So Project Core is just basically a website we're sharing with a lot of information. It's something that I need to dig around in, but I think we have some parents here. We have some professionals. So there's lots of resources in it for, you know, kind of where to start. I think Margaret's pulling it up for us.
I'm trying.
Thank you. I don't have control over that, you know, so you can write it down, or here you'll kind of get to see. So when you're looking, one thing I was actually just poking around on tonight was just a quick start guide, what to do. So you have, there's teaching supports and implementation. So if you're wanting to look around, professional development opportunities. There are also, if you're new to core, I think we have one, I think one of the parents was saying, or else I misread that child's new to AAC. There's a whole list here with communication apps and speech generating devices. So it's just a nice place to go dig around and get some information if you're feeling overwhelmed. Please don't feel obligated to go, and I don't want to make you feel more overwhelmed, but I always like learning about new resources as well. New also, if you're new to AAC, I don't know how everybody found out about us. I know I might have spread the word to a few, but if there was an email, but also checking out our NWACS website has a lot of great information on there too. And if you're new to AAC, there's, I think it's called Learn About there. So let's see what else. Next week. So how to teach core, or sorry, next week, I'm sorry. Join us, I think it's next month. It might be in a couple weeks. We're gonna be back in November, not next week.
Right. Sorry.
That's okay, we both missed it. But I was ready to go. I mean, maybe this will turn into weekly. You know, so we're gonna work on talking about different ways that you can implement core, you know, so some daily strategies, there's weekly strategies, you know, in the schools, especially in preschool and classroom or middle school, elementary schools, you can do, you know, core of the week or core words for the month. You can target one word per activity. So, you know, different ways you can use go. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So one word for multiple activities, not one activity. You know, how many different ways can I use go today? Or how many different ways can I use go this week? You can use core words when you're reading books, which is a great way. And then also during one-on-one or small groups, or, you know, in an individual therapy session, or just spending one-on-one time with your child or your student. So there's lots of ways to implement it. We have here a couple resources. Great. Yes. So Saltillo is a great resource. They have some free core. I'm starting from the bottom up, so just to throw you guys off. We Saltillo core board today. Toby Dynavox, though, is one that I'm just now remembering too, that we they have some core boards that you can print. Assistive wear is another resource. And then we also just showed you the Project Core. Please take time to go poke around and visit our NWACS info. There's actually a really nice area that says new to AAC. You can learn about it, and there's some really nice resources in there if you're looking for apps or some devices, or if you need other assistive technology for access. There's some really nice references in there that we just recently put together. You can also, I'm going to check my chat. Okay, nobody's saying anything there. Questions and also input for future topics. See, I started talking fast. If I had my AAC, I would have been slower. So next session is going to be Tuesday, November 9th. We're going to do the same time, about 6 o'clock, and we'll talk more about the implementation of core. So some different ideas, like I said, for, you know, daily use or weekly, or if you want to just pick one word for a week. And then the next one that we planned out is empowering teams, and just kind of a conversation about different roles for teams. Both are going to be via Zoom. So, you know, we'd love to see all of you back. If you want to accept a challenge, you could like invite a friend or a teacher or another therapist. But any questions for us today? Any interest in future topics that you would like to learn more about? Because we have the next 2 planned out, but we're hoping for monthly meetings moving forward. So we're taking suggestions.
Any resources to share about like how, like activities to do, like core word of the day or week?
I'll let Margaret go because I've been talking a lot.
Oh. Suggestions. So I do core word. I do of the month. I do 3 a month right now, but I probably need to pick it up. But I don't know what age group.
Middle school, but most of my AAC users are pretty severely impacted.
Yeah, mine too. So high school, middle school, you know, same thing. We do. So I teach. So I pick my core words. I first introduce the core word. So I make the core word on one single card, about yay big. So first I introduce the word, and they each find the word on their board. They say it, and then we do an activity. It's like I'll make a PowerPoint story, which with a focus on the word. Sometimes I go to Tar Heel Reader, and I can often search for a core word story in there as well. And yeah, you can make. I had an app where you can make, like, it looks like a die, a dice, and you can roll. It would be a game. You know, I leave that sort of stuff for carryover for the teacher. Then they roll the dice, and whatever one it lands on, they say it on the core board. Just things like that. It's actually pretty similar to anything you would do in a regular therapy session. You just switch it to core. Teachers have lots of core word activities. Some of them are free, some of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great ideas. I just have 2 other suggestions. Sometimes I've actually sat down with some teams and we've plotted out, we'll take the list, and I think you could search it, or you could just even find a core board and, okay, these are the 10 or these are the 20 words we want to work on this year. And then you pick as a team which ones you want to do which month, and then you're all using them. So if you guys have weekly or monthly staff meetings or something like that, you could plot it out. I believe Language Lab, which is sponsored by Saltillo and PRC, they have some free resources on there. And then I believe it's like, there's a fee for a year subscription. I forget if they do it monthly or not, but Language Lab is a really nice resource, and that they've have activities already planned out and some hands-on ones, and they do for like different levels. So like 1-word or 2-word combinations. Saltillo, I find to have a lot of nice resources in the past. I've gotten a calendar from the company, and then they had in their core words for the month and a book or like a theme. I can dig around actually and see if I can find one of those and share. But those are a couple others. So there's no wrong answer. I think that's the great thing. There's no wrong answer. And you could also plan out a month or 2 or 3 and then cycle back through and then see, oh, now we can expand on this. So hopefully we guided you a little bit right in a good direction. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions or input for future